Welcome everyone. My name is Grubbs. I'm the director of Army Mad Scientist. But really, it's just one of my jobs, and the main team that has put this together. I like to make sure you know who they are. So as you're working through the day, if you want to ask about Army Mad Scientist or anything about what we're doing in TRADOC, you can talk to them. So Matt Sandsburg, right there. Ian Kersey, Rachel Melling was around the door. I get asked all the time, now you must have a huge team. I'm like, actually, no, there are three of them, and they have other jobs too. So if you have any questions of what's going on, they are here. You can't forget our teammates. Dr. Patterson will come for in a few minutes. Sebastian, who most of y'all seem to know. It's great to be back here at Georgetown. Before COVID, almost really every year we would come up and partner with Georgetown, have great conferences on all kinds of operational environment topics with students. And it's just been a long time getting back here. And we're really appreciative of finding the right partners to bring us back and allow us to use the great facilities and collaborate with students and with other teammates that are from academia. So if you don't know it, you're here for the Game On Wargaming and the OE conference. If not, there's the door. So, you know, what I want to really frame for you was the why. Why is Army Mad Scientist doing a conference on wargaming? And it is a cool topic. I was talking to my wife about it, and she reminded me that when I was a young lieutenant in White Sands Missile Range 3 decades ago at the Officers Club, after we had a few drinks, everybody would sit down and play Risk. That in her life, Risk is what she thinks about as far as an Army war game. Most of y'all are probably thinking about, okay, new guy Grubbs. Risk really isn't what we're talking about here, but that's what my wife thought about when she thought about war gaming. I was telling her what we're coming up here for. But the why is very important. Mr. Sullivan, who you'll meet in a few minutes, and I were working a project about a year ago, preparing Army senior leaders for a discussion about our pacing threat, which is the Chinese, the PLA. And we were asked to think about it in time frames and risk. And Mr. Sullivan and I basically broke out 3 windows of risk across time between here and into the next decade. But the first timeline for risk that we laid out was really between now and 2027, where Xi has said that he expects his military to be prepared, not do anything, but be prepared to, if he gave them an order, to take Taiwan with military action. So that is a definite threat window. When we looked at it, we asked ourselves, and we talked to the senior leaders in the Army about this, and we told them, in 2 years, you're not getting a new tank, and you're not getting probably a bunch of new Army organizations. But what you can do is help our Army learn faster. We can ensure that our soldiers and leaders understand the threat. They understand the conditions in large-scale combat operations. We can figure out a way to give them the mental repetitions they can go through over and over and over again as they think about complex situations with adversaries and how conflict might go if it doesn't go the way that you think it will, working through all the different branches and sequels associated with what that could look like. That was really it. It was the fact that we needed to double down and invest in people and invest in people learning. And we had to improve their learning and learning fast. At the same time, TRADOC G2, much under Mr. Sullivan, who they said we'll meet in a few minutes, was doing wargaming with several of the Army Service Component Commands and some other joint services. And we realized that this is a method of learning that the Army ought to consider driving down into all kinds of different learning domains. And there are some places in the Army where this is taking place, but they're almost islands. So we decided to hold this conference to see if we can bring the collaboration together, get the discussion up at a higher level, and to really start the drumbeat on how we can drive all different types of gaming at all different types of clearance levels against all different types of operational conditions into across Army learning domains, professional military education, organizations, units as they're learning, and so on. So that's our why. That's why we're here. It's not because 30 years ago we used to play Risk in an officers club after having too many beers, and it's which is still cool. It's not because many of you have incredible games and things like that we're going to talk about. It's because at the end is we have to help our Department of Defense, our soldiers and our leaders, and our sailors and Marines, airmen, to learn faster and to get more reps. And this might be a way to do it. So that's the why. And I hope that's serious enough to get us all focused on that why. So we're gonna start this adventure. We'll go about a day and a half. There's a gaming night tonight. But two more things before I let you go. You heard me reference a couple of things: operational environment, large scale combat operations, things like this. TRADOC just published in August our new operational environment assessment. It's focused on large scale combat operations. It lists out 12 conditions. There's some Army implications, but really for the wargaming community, I think the 12 conditions might be interesting to you. There's a chart right here that has the 12 conditions. I mean, a QR code, which anyone here can go to. It doesn't require CAC. You can pull it up and you can take a look at it. And as you're thinking about gaming and situations, you might think about these conditions as some of the things that you might be exploring in gaming or not. There'll be other things. So, that's a key part of this. Also, it's very important that we connect in here. So your homework over the next day and a half is really to try to meet 10 people you don't know that you haven't met before. And the job is to give them your name, your organization, and what you're working on to see if we can find some synergies that you can take and you can go and you can deal with over the weeks and months to come. So look for those synergies, okay? And I'm not, this is ungraded homework. This is 21st century. We're great homework. You probably can't make less than a 50, but to make this worthwhile in your organizations, when you go back, the connections that you take with you, what will make this very important. So I'd ask you to do that. Okay, that's all I have, and we'll get started. First, and a very important piece, I was talking to Dr. Patrick, she reminded me that we actually met at that last, it was our first week. I remember this now very specifically, because she was like, what am I doing here? It was our first week was the last time we had an Army MadSci conference with Georgetown. I mean, that's what we talked about. So it's great that she's here. Dr. Patterson is Associate Director of the Center for Studies and Security Study Program at Georgetown and Professor of Practice with International Affairs in the Edmund A. Walsh School of Foreign Service. So, ma'am, you can come up. Thank you.